Hey guys, it's Yolanda Adams, and I'm hanging with Dr. Hendrix.
Hanging with Dr. Hendrix, CCPS, we are getting to it. Obstacles do not exist like a drive through, we are getting through it. Set the limit for the clouds, so we fly high. We got twinkle, twinkle, big stars way up in the sky. Make sure that you salute us far away or nearby. 2 thumbs up and they soar when they fly. Clayton County, watch and see, no need to ask why. Cause we'll make it when we make it to the top, no lie. Kick it with motivation, so we keep determination. Spread it all across the nation that we are hot, so call occasion. Hanging with Dr. Hendrix, so I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget, I'm signing off, sincerely mulatto. Hanging, I'm hanging with Dr. Hendrix. Hanging, I'm hanging with Dr. Hendrix. Hanging with Dr. Hendrix. Hanging with Dr. Hendrix. Hanging with Dr. Hendrix.
Hi, and welcome to Hanging with Dr. Hendrix. Today's show is about accreditation in the Clayton County Public School District. Although today's show examines the loss of the accreditation and the circumstances surrounding that loss, it is more important to note that today's show is also about the hope of a community, the dedication of a new school board, and the vision and courage of a new superintendent. My guests are some of the awesome people who are leading the district back to prominence. But before we can talk about the triumphs, we have to understand SACS, what it means to be an accredited school district, and discuss the evolution of the accreditation crisis. The Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, SACS, is one of the 6 regional accreditation organizations recognized by the United States Department of Education and the Council for Higher Education Accreditation. This agency accredits over 13,000 public and private educational institutions ranging from preschool to college level in the southern United States. SACS accredits educational institutions in the states of Virginia, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, and Texas, as well as schools for U.S. students in Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. There are a number of affiliate organizations within the Southern Associations of Colleges and Schools. An example would be the Southern Association of Community, Junior, and Technical Colleges. Every 6 months, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges publishes an online report on its accreditation actions, including reaffirmations of accreditation and public sanctions of institutions of higher learning. The reports include specific sanctions of schools and quality reports of schools failing to meet SACS standards. Accreditation is designed to help educational institutions boost their ongoing performance efforts to a level of excellence for the benefit of their students. This ethic of excellence ensures that institutions will find rich benefits from accreditation and that parents can confidently make informed decisions about their children's education, knowing their child's school is accredited. Accreditation matters because without it, students may have a more difficult time getting into colleges and universities. Students may have a harder time obtaining loans and scholarships. The district loses pre-kindergarten funding without accreditation. Property values go down in the community. Teachers could lose their benefits if they transfer to another school district. Additionally, school district-sponsored professional development would not count with the state towards recertification. In November 2007, SACS reported that it had received complaints from several board members. In response to those complaints, SACS launched an investigation into the board and the school district. Among other things, there were allegations of board members, 1, getting involved in the day-to-day operations of the school district, 2, not living in the county, 3, giving favors and privileges to family members who worked for the district, and 4, entertaining outside influences rather than working towards the success of students. In February 2008, as a result of its investigation, SACS recommended that the school district's accreditation be revoked as of September 1, unless the district met 9 mandates for improvement, many of which dealt with board ethics. Many state and local organizations called for the resignations of school board members. Additionally, in that same month, the governor appointed 2 State Board of Education members as liaisons to help the district get through the accreditation crisis. In March of 2008, 1 board member was removed for not living in the county. That same month, the National Accreditation Commission unanimously voted to uphold SAC's recommendation to revoke the district's accreditation, and families scrambled for answers as to why and how this happened. In the month of April 2008, after many calls to do so, more board members resigned and a corrective superintendent was hired. The governor's liaison and the attorney resigned, citing unethical board behavior. In May of 2008, 34 candidates qualified for 1 open board seat. In July of 2008, the governor asked a judge with the Office of State Administrative Hearings to review a complaint from 5 Clayton County residents who asked the governor to remove remaining board members. Shortly thereafter, another board member resigned, and the district delivered 2,300 pages of documentation to SACS. In August of 2008, a new board member was elected, another previous board member resigned, and SACS investigators visited the district. It was also in August of 2008 that a judge heard from the 5 residents who wanted to remove the remaining board members. The judge had to decide whether the 4 remaining board members violated the law and make a recommendation to the governor. On August 27, 2008, the judge rendered his recommendation. The recommendation to the governor was for the 4 remaining board members to be removed. On August 28, 2008, SACS revoked Clayton County Public Schools accreditation. That same afternoon, the governor removed the 4 board members from office. For many, including myself, it was a day I'll never forget.
During that day and at that time, we were at lunch at Lovejoy Middle School. I was the principal at that time, and a teacher actually came to me and asked me, have I heard the news? And my response to her, no, what happened? And she said, we lost it. And she said it, as a matter of fact. So I immediately became deflated, thinking about the community and the Lovejoy Middle School community as a whole. During that entire day, I was just searching for ways to stand before the community, to give them the news, and trying to find a way to let people know that everything is going to be okay. That's a dark day, but we will get through it.
And I agree with Dr. Covert that time that we were told that we had lost our accreditation. It was a very sad day. During that time, I was assistant principal at Mount Zion High School as a freshman academy, and wanted to know, well, what does this mean to my students? What's the next step for my students? How do I help convey this information to our parents? Just making sure we kept it positive as possible in order for us to be able to continue to move forward. So it was just a very sad day at that particular time when I found out we lost our accreditation.
I'm joined now by Mr. Paul Robbins, former Director of Fine Arts and our SACS liaison, as well as our present Director of our Fine Arts program, Mrs. Kay Sledge, who is also our SACS liaison currently. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Thank you.
For the people who don't know, you are 2 of the architects. You are 2 of the people who made sure that the SACS accreditation issue was one that we could get through. You led the way, and for that, I think, as time will show, you will be highly revered in Clayton County history. Let me ask you both this question, and I'll start with you if you don't mind, Kay. How did you feel on August 28th, the day that we lost our accreditation, August 28, 2008?
I remember the day very well. It was a very sad time for us. Having been a principal, having worked in central office, I knew the quality of the work that was being taken place in the schools. I knew what was happening there. I knew the quality of teaching and learning that was going on every day in our schools. And yet to have this on us was just, it was painful. It was very painful to have an accreditation agency say, no, you don't meet the standards. And it really hurt. I remember a lot of hurt, a lot of pain.
Paul, how did you feel, sir?
I certainly felt a lot of what Kay has mentioned. However, I felt a few more things. I realized very quickly it was not an indictment of the school system as a whole, but an indictment of the school board and the leadership they had provided. Mm-hmm. That's very important to SACS because that's the head of the school district, and if it's dysfunctional, how can the school possibly operate from the custodians on up to the superintendent properly? It was a very dark day, but I think in my heart I immediately said, we can fix this. Mm-hmm. And I was determined at that point, we shall make it right.
And that's a good segue into my next question. As our Director of Fine Arts and SACS liaison, once you found out that we lost our accreditation, what were your initial steps, Paul? What were the things that you thought about? What were the urgencies?
Well, I've been associated with SACS for quite some time. I wanted to talk to those people through the superintendent to make certain we understood exactly what was expected, to get the specific failures that had occurred and try to zero in as much as possible rather than trying to address every competency that we're responsible for in SACS, to address those that were most immediately demanding. And I think we did that. I had a lot of support from SACS, as Kay has had. They're wonderful individuals, and they are here to help the school system because they're committed to children just like we are. And I suppose the greatest pain I felt was for our teachers and our students, and then the parents, of course, who really were upset about all of this and felt like they were doing everything they could, and yet it was not good enough.
Yeah. Paul, there was a lot of upheaval during this time period, as you know. What were your immediate concerns? What were your fears as it relates to us regaining our accreditation?
My primary fear was that we'd try to argue the point that those people that were singled out as being in dereliction of their responsibilities would try to make an argument about the case. SACS is a voluntary organization. When you participate in it, you agree to meet the standards they have set, which are standards that simply mean children will achieve at a maximum level if you follow what we say must be done. There's nothing unique about SACS. It's just the best research that's been put together. But I was concerned about infighting within the school district, particularly at the board level and the upper level of administrators.
Okay, Mr. Robbins retires. He passes the baton. We're still in probation status. Where do we go from here? What were your concerns? What were your initial steps as it relates to the accreditation?
Well, one of the things that I would tell you at the beginning of this is that I had worked with Mr. Robbins for, well, probably 10 years with SACS and knew a lot of the standards and understood the standards of advanced ed. Built a relationship with the state SACS office and the people there who I knew could help us and could reach out and work with us as we worked to accomplish the goals that we had ahead of us. Mr. Robbins had left a very clear path of a very good committee that we had put together, and it certainly wasn't just me or just Paul. We had a committee that we worked with and through that who had a passion for making things right. And as Mr. Robbins just said, we took an opportunity to look at what had to be done. What was SACS saying? Where were the deficiencies? What do we need to do to meet standards on each of the rubrics? And the committee worked very diligently with that. We met with committee members. We involved stakeholders. We tried to be as transparent as we possibly could with everybody in the district. We held community meetings. We held committee meetings. We did things with the media, with our state legislatures. That was all a part of it to pull together as a group in a community. This wasn't just for hurting the school system. This hurt our community. As a resident of Clayton County, it hurt. So we had to pull together to say this can be done. And that was one of my primary focuses at first.